After months of covert negotiations, Israel and the Palestinian Liberation Organization signed the Oslo Accords, officially known as the Declaration of Principles on Interim Self-Government Arrangements, in Washington, D.C. on September 13, 1993.
My people are hoping that this agreement, which we are signing today, will usher in an age of peace, coexistence, and equal rights. We are relying on your role, Mr. President, and on the role of all the countries which believe that without peace in the Middle East, peace in the world will not be complete.
In more recent times, Jericho has undergone significant development with the construction of modern resorts, hotels, and entertainment facilities that cater to the needs of tourists. This wave of change started with the Oslo Accords of 1993, turning Jericho into a laboratory for the new production and arrangement of Palestinian urban space as a state project. When you pass the Israeli checkpoint at the entrance to the town on the main road from Jerusalem, the first thing you see on your right is a massive ongoing construction housing project called Jericho Gate and a high-end hotel, the Oasis Hotel. Previously, it was known as the Intercontinental Hotel Jericho, neighboring the Oasis Casino, which was one of the most profitable casinos in the world back at that time. Oasis Casino was the first major cross-border development project involving Israel, the Palestinian Authority, and Jordan since 1993. It marked a new future for larger-scale financial partnerships between these three governments and their peoples. But the idea to build a flashy casino was mostly an independent decision coming from the Palestinian Authority, along with their investors. The Palestinian Authority chose to construct a casino because it was in dire need of a high-profile private venture that would be sure to succeed and draw in much-needed funding from foreign investors. When compared to more sensible infrastructure projects like housing, highways, electrical generation plants, or water treatment facilities, a casino made more sense to Palestinian Authority planners due to its eye-catching nature and potential to generate millions of dollars in investment proceeds and tax returns for the Palestinian Authority. It was an easy decision for them to make. Gambling was and still is illegal in Israel, turning many to Turkey, which became the most popular gambling destination at one point. However, this was closed down by the Turkish government in 1998 due to religious reasons. Secondly, gaming industry analysts calculated that worldwide Israeli gambling exceeded $500 million annually, making Israelis among the world's most prolific gamblers. Third, surveys carried out at the time indicated that the presence of gambling would encourage European visitors to travel to Israel and consequently the Palestinian Authority's share of the West Bank. The Palestinian authorities saw this opportunity of supply and demand for gambling and they took it immediately, while the legal structure of Palestine after the handshake in 1993 was weak enough for the government to get away with this decision. But the Palestinian authorities knew they needed an expert for the casino management. So, Casino Austria International Limited, or CAIL, stepped into the picture. With years of experience, close partnership and operations in many countries like South Africa, Hungary and Middle Eastern areas. They knew well that a successful casino must first establish that basic security of person and property. But Casino Austria also understood that being successful meant more than just ensuring the security of its customers. It realized that in order to attract customers to its casino, it needed to create an atmosphere that would distract them from the harsh reality outside. The choice of Jericho as the casino's location was influenced by its proximity to Israel and Jordan, making it easily accessible for foreign visitors. Especially, it had to be safe to ensure the patrons' safety as they are the money makers of the casino and had little chance of potential political violence. It had to be Western enough to appeal to the American convention and tourism industry. In his book Learning from Las Vegas, Robert Venturi did talk about the architecture of the symbols and billboards of casinos. The graphic sign in space has become the architecture of this landscape. If you take the signs away, there is no place. The desert town has intensified communication along the highway. If we take a look at the Oasis sign outside, even the name itself was heavily influenced by Sin City itself. It was designed as a way to communicate with its patrons and maybe bring a fragment of the American dream to Jericho. In Las Vegas hotels, the registration desk is always behind you, and the gaming tables and machines are in front. The casino room is located in the front. The internal area and terrace, with their exaggerated seclusion from the outside world, offer the feel of an oasis. Windows and clocks are extremely rare in casinos. The absence of natural light and chiming clocks allow players to gamble for hours without realizing how long they've spent, or more importantly, how much money they've spent on the casino floor. One recurring casino myth is that casinos pipe pure oxygen onto the casino floor, ostensibly to give gamblers an oxygen high that lowers their inhibitions. For the ugly and intense color carpet in the casino, the vibrant patterns and colors stimulate the senses and keep the mind engaged, reducing the risk of players getting drowsy or fatigued. The low ceiling was designed to look like a starry night, to make it look like an open space to patrons' eyes. It is also the same strategy to keep people from forgetting where they are. Following the Las Vegas model, Oasis Casino has no windows and a low ceiling, but where Las Vegas only has to make its patrons forget where they are in the middle of the desert, the Jericho Casino has to make its customers forget that they are in Palestinian-controlled West Bank. The Ritotto was Europe's first legalized casino. The Ritotto was an early model for the use of gambling revenues to support state finance by combining the interests of mercantile gamblers and government authorities. The casino charter stated that the Ritotto was public. However, due to the casino's high stakes and formal dress code, only nobles could afford to play at its tables. One such discriminatory injunction, for example, required players to wear 3-cornered hats and masks to participate in 2 Ritotto's games. Less affluent Venetians were thus barred from making wagers at the casino's tables. Similar to the Ritotto, even though the Oasis Casino was advertised as open to the public, people's identifications were being checked at the entrance of the casino. When entering the casino, guests were required to show identification and have their profile placed on a computer. Through this procedure, Kale could identify gamblers who had recently suffered major financial losses and required them to provide proof of their financial stability before allowing them to return to the casino. The casino was open to Israelis, Jordanians, and international passport holders, with approximately 94% of its visitors coming from Israel. However, Palestinians were generally not allowed inside the casino, except for those who were employed there.
When you're playing in a casino, politics don't matter. I saw it in Egypt when I was playing in the casino in Cairo after the signing of the peace agreement between Israel and Egypt. And I saw that people from all over the Middle East were sitting with Israelis and they didn't care. And the same thing is going to happen here.
Moreover, the casino employed more than 1,000 people, making it the biggest private employer in the West Bank. About 70% of the Palestinian employees working at the site came from the nearby Aqabat Jaber refugee camp. It is such a big contrast and surreal to see that one side of the road is a massive casino full of hedonism, while the other side is a refugee camp where people are struggling with basic amenities. But in a while, at the peak of those peaceful years, in 1998, the Oasis Casino kind of became a symbol of what peace could be. Israelis and foreigners equally visited it, blending with the Palestinian staff who were forbidden from gambling but allowed to work there. Along with that, all the gambling tables were managed by experienced foreign croupiers and dealers, most of them either being British or European, with a small number of Palestinian car dealers. The Palestinian Authority's desire to see economic growth in Palestine was a major factor in the construction of the Oasis, as it was believed that this would convince Palestinians that they had a stake in the peace process. In reality, the Oasis Casino had caused a major blow to the idea of economic empowerment itself. The Palestinian authorities were able to enlist the support of the Austrian National Bank, another investor from Austria, for the Jericho project with the help of Kale. The Palestinian Authority leased out a quarter of the Oasis ownership to Austrian investors, with the remaining 10% going to the bank and 15% to Kale. The Palestinian Authority thereafter received a 30% shareholding through the Palestinian Services Corporation, a quasi-governmental organization under its authority, to conceal its involvement in the project due to the negative public perception of the casino. The other 45% were anonymous investors from Palestine, Israel, and Europe. The casino was initially only open from Thursday at 2 p.m. to Sunday at 6 a.m., but in only 3 months it had expanded to include 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and roughly 15% more gaming tables. As of that point, the casino was declared that over 170,000 people had entered its premises. After another 6 months, there were 93% more tables than there were on the first day of operation. The Oasis held more than 220 slot machines, and the casino had seen over 700,000 patrons. As a result, both the Palestinian Authority tax collectors and the casino's investors had reaped financial rewards. Before the casino shifted to operating 7 days a week, it was making at least $350,000 a day in just the first 3 months. A year later, it was reportedly making $1 million daily. The profit was so high that initial investment was returned in less than 2 or 3 years, as originally planned. Keep in mind that the casino investment was $50 million. The casinos were met with opposition, particularly from a religious point of view, when they were first established. Due to the fact that gambling is forbidden in Islam, there have been objections raised by a number of religious organizations and groups.
We are not in need for casino. We need factories. We don't need casino. Who's going to come to the casino? The rich people who comes from the Arab countries, that they collect our money and to send this money back to the Europe. That's a way to steal our money.
On the other hand, the most significant source of opposition to the Oasis was the growing disapproval among the general public of the authoritarian government. The majority of Palestinians thought that this casino wouldn't have a significant positive impact on their lives. Just like its name, to most Palestinians, the casino was just an oasis, a fragment of some Western dream. The casino's success was short-lived. After the Second Intifada, due to security reasons which led to the absence of Israeli visitors, the casino was closed down shortly after that, in 2000. Though it was a hit with private investors and the Palestinian Authority, the casino was not the greatest way to raise Jericho's standard of living at the time. It makes us question the transparency of the city's legal system. The casino will always be remembered as a short-term economic success and a long-term failure, with wasted potential with Jericho's tourism industry. The casino was only the first phase of a $150 million resort complex that, according to its Austrian developers, would also include a golf course, several hotels and restaurants on the outskirts of Jericho. In the present, the only thing left of the casino was the name Oasis, from the used-to-be Intercontinental Hotel as a homage. In an article called "All the Palestinians Got from Oslo Was KFC," the author described the atmosphere of the hotel was as sad and eerie. The hotel itself reflected the sad reality of the post-Oslo failure, but it was the adjoining casino, shuttered in 2000, that was truly eerie. There are ongoing debates and articles about whether they should reopen the casino or not, but given the current situation, it seems like the casino will stay in the past. But aside from the casino itself, Jericho is still a hotspot for tourism and housing development projects like Jericho Gate, a private residential project, or several water theme parks being built in the city.